Good morning. I think good morning for pretty much everyone on the call. My name is Eric Gutierrez. I'm the regional sales manager for Ava Security. I'm based out of New York, covering the entire Northeast. And with me, I've got John Horton, who is our sales engineer covering the same region. And he'll be doing all the fun stuff shortly with the demo and all of that. So I'll just jump right in. I reiterated before, make sure we're using the Q&A section, and we're going to leave a fair bit of time towards the end to tackle all of those. So we'll get started. So who is Ava? I think that's one. We're a relatively new company. We went through a name change late last year. So just bigger picture, we make a best of breed product, both in the cyber side that's focused on insider threat, and we make a best of breed product on the physical security side, which is Ava Aware, and that's what we're going to talk about today. The important thing is the company philosophy, right? Our idea is to protect people, property, and data. And we'll show you in the demo exactly how we're able to do that. So I think that's the big picture here. We've come a long way in just a short amount of time, and we hope you like the demo that you're going to see. Bunch of logos on here. I think I get asked all the time, hey, where does Ava seem to fit better? The short answer is everywhere, right? We've got customers in a ton of different verticals, different areas. I think really because we're focused on what problems we're solving for our customers, it allows us to kind of fit everywhere, not just a one trick pony for enterprise or small. We kind of fit everywhere, and the architecture allows us to do that. So you can see from federal, state and local, K through 12, higher ed, we're all over the place as far as those customers that we can actually support. Why a new company? Why a new product? There's a lot of stuff out there. So really, why did the team at Ava decide to create something from scratch? The reality is, and most of those on the call know, that legacy video platforms are, they're very difficult to set up, difficult to train, complex, 3-4 days of training to understand what you're doing. And that definitely makes it more complex and tougher to maintain, higher total cost of ownership. Difficult to use if you have turnover of staff or need people constantly trained. Very, very difficult. Again, very time consuming. And a lot of systems are closed, right? There's solutions out there today that if you decide you don't like that offering, you're going to have to rip and replace all of your hardware. And then I think the other piece I'll run over is, what value can we bring beyond security? John will show you how we do that extremely well. We do the security piece extremely well, right? We're gonna walk you through some of those features. But what we do well that no other real provider talks about is the real-time data, counting, and all the other dashboards we can build that allow you to maybe sneak budget over from other departments, but also provide value to other departments, not just your guards and officers and director of security, but the IT guys, the business intelligence and marketing. All the other people involved are going to see a true benefit from the solution versus your traditional vendors, I would say. So how are we different, right? I think the biggest piece is simple, and you're going to see us demonstrate that. You're going to see how simple it is as John goes through his demo. But that is a big piece of it. That's, I think, a huge differentiator when we start talking about the other guys out there. Is we're very simple to set up, maintain, and administer over the lifespan of the deployment. Smart, another huge one. Every single camera that you plug into Ava Aware will be intelligent. It will be providing you insights. It will be proactive. You can set up rules and alerts and alarm every single camera, not just picking and choosing like you've had to do in the past. Secure. You saw me mention it before. We have a cybersecurity sister product, and we take cybersecurity extremely seriously to the point where a lot of our solutions are hardened by default, right? Encrypted communication between camera and servers, encrypted stored video, encrypted cloud communication, all that fun stuff. It's done by default. We don't need to check other boxes, get cybersecurity pro involved. We can turn these on and protect our customers' environments and your environments basically by default. Open. We work with your existing deployed cameras, and we can work with brand new Ava cameras. You won't be able to tell the difference as to what you're interfacing with. I mentioned some of these before, and you'll see these in the demo. I think some of these points are better shown than said, but I think the one that I will always harp on is the proactiveness of the solution. And I think that's a big, big differentiator, right? Legacy systems, great. I can get an alarm after the fact or search video after the fact. And the fact of the matter is, that's how a lot of people consume their video system today. Our big thought is we want to move that to be proactive. Let's prevent something from happening versus getting a really good shot of it after it occurred. We'll talk about the counting. The mobile app native looks very, very similar, and we'll show you the searching and all that fun stuff in a live demo site versus me talking about it. The solution. So I think what this slide is trying to say, there's a lot of words on here, there's a lot of important stuff, but I think the really important takeaway from here is that we allow you as the customer to consume our solution in whatever way makes sense for you, right? Whether that is brand new Ava cameras going directly to the cloud, right? We're going to use some of our smart path technology, allow you to talk to the camera locally via the internet, a couple different ways. Or you can use our cloud connector and pull in some of those existing third-party cameras, and then one in the same, right? A hybrid deployment of both of those. So I think that's really the idea here is we want to be the bridge to get you from your legacy on-premise deployment into the cloud. And we give you a couple of different ways to get there for every single budget, every single IT department. There's a flexible path for us to get you into that cloud deployed solution. On the hardware side, so we do have native appliances that you saw, the cloud connector that I mentioned before. We also have cameras. We have a compact dome, fits in the palm of your hand, extremely good low light resolution and image shot. The dome, 4K dome, this thing is built like a tank. You know, once you get your hands on one, you won't look at other cameras the same. And then a 360 camera, great for your overview shots and surveillance. So what we're trying to do is, you know, we're trying to cover 95% of our customers' needs with these camera models so that you have, you know, one location, single click firmware updates on the cameras managed from a single pane of glass. You don't have to log into individual cameras and set passwords and IPs. That truly managed from one single interface that John will show you here in a little bit. And I'll reiterate again, because it's extremely important. We have AI and machine learning built into every single Ava camera, and it's going to be turned on by default. And it'll allow you to do some of the really cool things that we're going to demo here shortly. The cloud connector, I think, is a huge value proposition for you as a customer. Being able to have that one interface for Ava cameras and your existing ones. If you need 90, 120 days of storage, it may be a little more cost effective. But I think really what it allows you to do is here in the bottom left, right? AI and machine learning on every single camera. We don't care if it's a 5-year-old camera or you put it in there 2 years ago. We want you to leverage that investment you already made while still giving you that nice flavor of Ava Aware over the top of that so that it can now be proactive. So adding some additional lifespan to that investment that you've already made. I think that's a huge differentiator. And like I mentioned before, remember, you can run this. The cloud connector can sit alongside Ava cloud cameras, and you as the customer can't tell the difference, you know, as to how you're using it. Same analytics, same functionality there. And we're going to jump into John's demo here now. So he's going to log into a live customer site. He's going to take us through some of the really important features and functions, and we're going to talk about some use cases as he goes through them. And I'll talk about how our customers are using those features, you know, to help them throughout their day-to-day business, whether that's logistics, whether it's retail, whatever the case might be. We'll talk about some of these things. So I'll stop sharing here, and John, you can take over.
Yeah, thanks, Eric. And I'll just, you know, I picked out a couple points on what you said that people can kind of pay a little bit of attention to here. You know, you're not only going to see this used for security, but this actual customer is using it for a lot of operational data. And you'll see that also that there's not someone looking at the screens all the time here. So it's a very proactive system. And I think you'll see both of those things in the demonstration here. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Now, the first thing to point out, as Eric mentioned a couple of times, this is a cloud solution. So to get to our interface and our menu, you would use a URL. You could access that URL in this menu from anywhere in the world. A couple things right away that you're looking at here. I'm gonna take out a couple of these icons and we're going to talk about them in detail. So we're going to talk a little bit about video view. We're going to talk about searches, which is a really powerful part of our system. We're going to talk about rules. We'll go over maps, which includes just situational awareness and counting data and so on. The other buttons you see here are a lot of configuration. Appliance would refer to the cloud connector, and this is how we would interface the third-party cameras. Alarms is just to review your past alarms, what's happened in the past. So I'll go ahead and get started here. I'm going to go to video view, and this is pretty standard for those of you that are used to video management systems. You have your camera tree and your camera layout here on the left. You could change through different layouts, and you could change to custom views. Okay, so if I just go to a custom view that I had set up here, it includes a couple different types of cameras. We have an outdoor camera looking at a parking lot, lunchroom, which is important for capacity counting these days, and there's some loading docks here. So there's a lot going on. Now, they use this system really for auditing. When a pallet comes out of here, they go ahead and they zoom in and they make sure that that's the right pallet and the right things are on the pallet. So it's not really all just security. Now, I'll point out a couple things. You'll see a couple different color codings on our timeline. When you see a purple color coding on the timeline, that means that there was a vehicle moving in the scene of the camera. So I could go to playback, and whenever I go to a purple area, I can trust, before I even look at the timeline, that there is a vehicle moving through that field of view. Okay, like this semi truck there. I'm going to go to a blue area, and before I get to this area, I know that there's going to be a person moving in the scene of this camera. Now, if there's purple and blue, there's going to be a person and a vehicle somewhere in the scene. Okay, the person here is walking, which represents the blue. The car or the vehicle is driving by, that represents the purple. Okay, so that's the color coding right away. It just helps you pick out incidents on the timeline if you're interested in seeing when a person was there or if there was a vehicle there at a certain time. Okay. Now, one thing I'll also mention, not only do you have your different views and layouts, but you could change these tiles here to sequence through different cameras. So if I went to the bottom to the rotation settings, I could say, okay, I want this camera to sequence here. I want this camera to sequence here. And you could do that to different tiles. Okay, so that's a little bit of flexibility as far as what you want to see. Now, with that being said, we're also detecting anomalies. We're not only classifying people and humans, but we're also classifying what they're doing and if it's normal for them to do that or not. An indication of an anomaly is the orange bar around the tile. And if I wanted to review any of these anomalies, I'll click on that and I'll view the anomaly. Okay, I'll see what happens. I'll see what has occurred that doesn't normally happen. And there's no rules that need to be set for this. You could go ahead and just rely on the machine learning portion to point out these different incidents. You'll also see a red area around this tile. So this represents your rules. So if I were to click on the red area, it would show me what rule was associated with that. I could also go to my drop down here and click on the individual rule and see here on the right. So this happened to be a line crossing rule, and this shows the person actually crossing that line. So I'm going to talk a little bit about rules. Anything you want to add at this point, Eric, before I move on to?
So yeah, in the video view, just wanted to point out a couple of different, couple of things here. I think the key takeaway here is how simple this is to navigate. Very user friendly. There's not 50 different sub menus. You're able to get to the point, see the real-time alarms there that you saw on the top right, see the anomalies. Think about a system that is going to learn from your typical environment. It'll alert you when you didn't even think to create a rule, right? Think about things that you can prevent, whether it's a vehicle or a person being where they shouldn't. That's what we're trying to show here. We're trying to make lives much easier for whoever's using the system, whether that's a guard, a principal at a school, it doesn't matter. So you as the customer know that you're going to log in and the system is going to work for you instead of the other way around. And we'll show you how, when we move to search, really how the system is going to do the work for you and make your life a lot easier.
That's right. Yeah, great. Thank you, Eric. Yeah, so we will move, and the next things we'll kind of talk about are the rules and the searches. And I'll just go back to the main menu. You have your rules here and searches here. Now, your rules will be set for anything that happens in the future. Any searches will allow you to search anything that's happened historically. Okay, so we'll go to rules, and here you're able to create new rules. Okay, and these rules can be based on appearance, line crossing, loitering, sound, which is unique to the Ava cameras, or counting. Okay, now we happen to set up a line crossing rule here. Once you set up that rule, you do have the ability to test the rule. So I'm going to go ahead. All right, let's search with this. Let's search with this rule. Okay, so I'm looking for a person on a specific camera in the last 12 hours. If I found someone that I want to do a little bit more investigating in, I could always go ahead and scroll through here and add them to the top area. Okay, and as I add them, what I'm doing is building a case, and I'm allowing myself to search even more. Okay, so if I found a couple things that I wanted to investigate a little further, I could go ahead and pin them to the top and ask for better results. So I found the person that I want. Let's see if I could get a little better results and search a little more cameras for this person. So I found a few different incidents where this person is showing here. So once I pin these to the timeline here at the top, I'm going to go ahead and I could either export them. This will allow me to put it on a USB drive or a CD to pass it off to someone. But that's kind of the old way of doing it. What I'm going to show you is something called creating an external link. So I'll go to create an external link. This will allow me to share these 3 videos that I pinned to the top, and I could go ahead and adjust the length. I could put some notes here if I wanted to. I could give access to this link for 1 day, 2 weeks, 1 month, or longer, and I could password protect it. So I'm going to go ahead and create that link, and it's going to copy to my clipboard, and I'll go ahead and open a browser here, paste it to the browser, okay? And then I have immediate access to those videos, okay? So no more taking time up to put it on a USB drive, to put it on a CD, wait till it gets to the officer, wait till it gets to the dispatcher. You could send this right to someone right away in their car, the roving security guard, or what have you.
Yeah, I think the one important, something really important on this search functionality is the scale, right? So, for example, this is a live customer site. We picked a single camera, but we probably have close to 400, if not exceeding now, 400 cameras. And we're able to help this customer who has over a mile of warehousing space, help them track down individuals across that entire environment in minutes versus hours, how they were doing it before. So we're tracking people, inventory and product, as well as customers as they flow throughout this environment. So just one example to show you, hey, here's the power of machine learning and AI, and here's the power of it at scale. I think that's something very important, is realizing that you're not hand selecting 1, 2, 5 cameras for this feature to work. Every single camera is going to have this enabled as long as you're running Ava aware.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you, Eric. So just to give you a little better idea of the search, so if I wanted to just search for a person or a vehicle,
Hey,
I
John,
can do that.
really quickly, go off full screen just so we get it on the recording.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'll go back. I'm in the search section, and I could go to appearance. I could search for the appearance of a person, male or female. I could choose vehicle, and then I could classify what type of vehicle that might be. I could search with a line crossing. So if I want to know when a person crosses a line on a specific camera, I could go ahead and do that from that point. Loitering, let's say I wanted to see if someone was loitering next to the cash booth, for example, okay? So I could do that. If I wanted to search according to sounds, now this is specific to our cameras, but I could search according to loud noises, glass breaks, smoke alarms, screaming, and so on. We're working on more and more sounds every day. So the other thing that I'll point out next, and it's very powerful, is our map view. Now, this gives you a situational awareness of what's going on indoors and outdoors. Okay, so there's a couple things happening here. I did upload a map and I added some cameras to the map, and this will give me the ability to look at the cameras from this section. I could go ahead and click on the icons to see what those icons are representing. Okay, which person is being classified here? I could go to the outdoor camera and I could do the same thing with the outdoor camera. There's a car parked here. This is the vehicle that's associated, this is the icon that's associated with that vehicle. And I could do more searching from this location as well. Okay. Not only can I do situational awareness and further investigating what's going on in the fields of view of these cameras, but I could also go down and I could turn on the counting feature. And I could see how many people were in this break room, at this time. There's 5. Okay, we have a limit of 8. So I could go ahead through this timeline and I could see, when there was more than 8 people. Okay, so I could actually see that historically. I might want to set a rule to that says if there's more than 7 or 8 people, I want to get alerted, and I would like an alarm on that. Okay, and then you'll have an ongoing count as I move across the timeline here. You'll have an ongoing, accurate count of what's going on inside your building and outside.
Yeah, and I think one key takeaway right here, we're showing some maybe COVID related use cases, right, with occupancy of a cafeteria, which this customer is looking at. But think about, just situational awareness in your environment, whether that's a school, whether it's a hospital, whether it's just a commercial building, being able to understand during an emergency, where are my people? Where do I need to send first responders? And we can even drag and drop access control doors on here and lock and unlock doors from this map. If you have that integration with a third party, we can add information, like smoke detectors and fire extinguishers. And now your staff knows where these things are within that environment without having to reference a fire alarm diagram or run to the door. So these are, things that can help save lives that are just embedded into the product. They don't have to go anywhere else. And of course, these can be tweaked and calibrated so you get your perfect field of view. Up to, I would say 90% of customers are good with getting the situational awareness, but we have that flexibility there as well. Thanks, John.
Yeah, no problem. I think that I think that wraps up the demo portion. Did you want to point out anything specific you wanted to go back to or review?
Oh, I think just showing how easy, you showed that rule and how easy it is. It's very similar to how we do a search. I think it's important to just show the ease of use, we're not really getting into the management of the system, but just as easy as you see John using the platform, we are able to, simply go ahead and do that. I'll say leave the demo open as we go through some of the questions in case we need it. But I'm going to pull some. We had quite a few questions come in, so I'm just simply going to go through some of these. So first question, I guess 1 and 2 are very, very similar regarding the cloud connector / on-prem. So first question is, are there any types of cameras that are not compatible with the cloud connector? So I guess we're talking about third-party cameras, John. What cameras are not compatible with our cloud connector?
Okay, so the cloud connector can pretty much be compatible with any camera, third-party camera, whether it's IP or analog. If it's an analog camera, then we would need some type of encoder. But yeah, it's pretty much
we can
all.
exactly. So we can pull in any on-with conformant camera, and if you got an encoder that's on-with conformant, we'll bring in analog and make those dumb camera smart? So good question. So the other question was very similar. Can you guys go into how you utilize existing cameras? Is there a local server or bridge that is needed? Short answer, our cloud connector is something that you would have locally on site. That's what's gonna, crunch your analytics, do some of your storage if you opt to. And that's where all your cameras are going to communicate to. And then everything else is going to be web-based, browser-based, even when you have that cloud connector. And obviously that cloud connector is just sized based on how many cameras you want to deploy and how much storage do you need, right? 30, 60, 90. So I think that's the one of the another question. So a couple others, and I think they're similar. Omniv camera supported by Ava. Yes, we check that box. We can bring all those cameras in. What is the average setup time of a cloud camera? I think is a unique question there, Don. I don't even know.
Yeah. Well, it's a unique question and it's a very good one. I mean, minutes, literally minutes. You have the cloud connected camera, which is similar to something. This is actually a cloud connected camera here, but you open the top, you connect it to your network, you go to your phone, you scan the QR code that's on the inside of this cap, and it will add to your cloud instance, and you're ready to go. You have a URL. This is going to start recording right away, and that's about it. Very simple.
So you're talking minutes, right? You're moving away from standing up a big server into something that's minutes. Another question that we have, is there a difference in features when you use a cloud connector versus the Ava cameras?
The Ava cameras, I mentioned it briefly, but the Ava cameras do have microphones. They have sound analytics. I don't know if you could see it, but there is 5 microphones placed around the camera here, and these pick up different noises, glass break, screaming, gunshot, all kinds of different audio analytics. So that is the only difference. When you do utilize the Ava cameras, you will get the extra benefit of a complete audio analytics package.
Yeah, I think that's huge. And also remember that now you're able to do single click firmware upgrades with Ava camera. So if you're looking for something that's going to be very, very easy to maintain for the lifespan of the system, be up to date, consistently with the proper patches and firmware upgrades, that's what you'll get when you're utilizing the Ava cameras. But the UI, all that fun stuff, you really won't be able to tell the difference. We had, I guess, a question regarding, you saw the counting data. What else / what access do I get to that counting information? I guess what else can they do with it is the question.
Yeah, that's a great question because it doesn't stop there for sure. A lot of our customers we have a full open RESTful API. So we're able to pull any of that counting data out and put that into some type of dashboard. If you have a conference room and there's a monitor outside the conference room and your conference room reaches capacity, you can have a green light that says, okay, go or stop. Okay, we've reached capacity, or we could allow a couple more people. We're getting requests for this type of information all the time. We're working with a public safety department where they run a major toll area, and they get audited often, and they want to do counting. How many trucks, how many cars are coming in? Does it match the POS reports? So this is used very often for that type of data, and it's very easy to pull that data from our system through API.
Perfect. Some more, I guess, some technical questions here. What bandwidth does the cloud connector require? I can take that one. So the benefit of that, it's on your local network, right? So depending on what your cameras you're recording at and whether you're viewing this thing remotely, but typically if you're going to stay local on the network, it's just whatever cameras are coming into the cloud connector. And we have connectors that go from 16 cameras all the way up to 200. So pretty big variation there. It's just going to depend on how you decide to record. The other thing is bandwidth on the cloud camera. So something unique with our solution is that we actually allow you, even if you buy that 4K or 5 meg dome that John had in his hand, we actually allow you to tweak the resolution of that camera once you have it deployed. So you can actually alter that and say, hey, you know what? I don't have the bandwidth. Remember, we are doing analytics at the edge and sending back only metadata. So something important to realize is that you don't need a constant 3-4 megabits per camera. It's something that you can very easily reduce to just some kilobits of data for each cloud camera. So that's a very, very important piece to understand, is that we don't need to always go out to the internet. Even when you want to access the camera, we do have some pretty unique ways using SmartPath to view some of those cameras locally. So there you go. John's showing you just some ways that we can actually modify the camera resolutions on across all of our cameras. We have another question, another couple that came in. Can we use the counter to deduct whether someone is still in the facility at the end of the day? So basically, almost like mustering, right? Can we determine that there are 0 people in the school based on the counting data? So I think I would say, from a fire safety perspective, it's not something we would ever recommend. Hey, your building is completely empty. However, for purposes of, hey, how many students are coming in based on day of the week, as long as we cover all of our entrances and exits, right? And now that students are socially distanced, it's very simple for us to count in and out. We just need to be very cognizant of, are we getting the right shot? And like I said, I would not sell this to an education sort of customer to say, hey, there's nobody left in the building, especially in the event of some sort of emergency. But it is a great tool to get some of that trend information, to get some of that other get some of that other thing or other information in dashboards, like what John was mentioning, right? Red light, green light, yellow light for COVID compliance, etc. So I think that kind of wraps up the questions that I saw that came in. I don't know, John, if you wanted to add anything else, but we can kind of move over to announce some of the camera winners if there's nothing else.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to cover. We had about 20 minutes, but we would be more than happy to dive a little deeper with anyone into this. If you want another demo, if you want some more time on a specific subject that we talked about, we will definitely ready and willing to do that with you at a later time. So thank you.
Perfect. All right, so I guess I'll get I can't do a drum roll sound here, but going to pull up the people that attended are getting a free compact camera. Let me get this thing going.
Hopefully I'm on that list.
As I pull this up, as we're trying to do this on the fly during the presentation, but I think we're good, and I'll pull this up. So those of you guys that registered and attended, looks like we have 5 people that will be receiving the compact camera. So David Boland, Dave Kraut, Cal Baker, Eric Peterson, and Troy Malone are going to be receiving our cloud cameras. We have your emails. We will be reaching out to provide us shipping information for the free camera. So hopefully you guys are able to get your hands on a camera, test it out, see what you think. For those of you that are partners, see how your customers could benefit from this. But congrats, and we'll be reaching out very, very shortly to get that stuff in hand. Looks like some people are saying that they're on and didn't get a camera. We'll double check towards the end of it and make sure that if you are, if you are able to get one, that we'll get one in your hands. What else? Yeah, I think that kind of wraps it up. Hopefully you guys found this insightful, see how you guys or your customers can benefit from it. Like John was saying, there's a lot to cover in a very, very short period of time. So we just want to make sure that we're able to hit some of the really, really important points here and drive some of those, differentiators home. I think something really powerful that needs to stick in your head is that every single camera will have the capabilities we talked about today. And just think about, get your wheels spinning on how you think, this solution could benefit your customers. If there's anything, any questions after the webinar, feel free to reach out through the website, email us. Some of you guys already know me that are on the webinar. Just reach out to us. We'll get you connected with the right regional sales rep and the right sales engineer to get you guys deployed. We love doing try and buys, right? We love testing out environments. Like there was that school, there was a school question. Let's go deploy it. Let's go test it out. We got one other question that came in about cloud and on-prem. So that is coming very, very soon. So today they are separate deployments. They look exactly the same, but very soon here, within the matter of several weeks, you'll be able to interface that from a single interface across the board. So exciting things coming. We're going to do these webinars a lot more frequently. We are on a 2 to 3 week development cycle for the guys that are using our product. They know that, and we're constantly adding new things for our customers, and we want to make sure that we're getting the word out there. So hopefully this was helpful. It'll be one of the first of many that you'll see from our team. Big thanks to Monica Ruth for coordinating, getting this thing done. We hope this was good, and those winners, make sure that you guys respond to the email so you can get some cameras in your hand. Have a great rest of your week. Take care, guys.